How's it going, guys? Welcome to my channel again. Today I got you the Genaray Mini Moon light panel, which is a cute name for a cute light. This is a very thin light panel, and this is the front of the light. It almost looks like one of those little makeup mirror little things, right? So this is definitely going to become the primary way I'm going to do hair lights on my studio, on location, or here, because there are two ways to do this. Either with a nice soft light like this, but that's kind of heavy and takes some time to set up. So for hair light, of course, it's not a big deal if your light is not that diffused. And if you want diffusion, you can actually use this light over here, but that requires some setup and actually adds more weight on the boom, which means more counterbalance at the end of the other side of the boom. And this light over here is also round, very thin, which the roundness provides a better shape of the light, especially when you're lighting somebody's head. And this is going to be almost no weight on your boom. All you got to do is throw a couple little things on the back there to balance the boom. So when I got this light sent to me just a few days ago, I actually had a corporate shoot in the morning, which I immediately wanted to take it to test this thing in a real world situation, because when you have the light in the room here with a talking head is one thing, but when you actually take on location is a whole other story, because you have a real person in front of the camera being lit by this light. And this is exactly what I wanted to show you guys, the light tested in the real world. So when you put this thing on the boom, it's going to require very little counterbalance weight on the back. And this is a very light little light, and also the portability of two Sony MPF batteries. Now the back of the unit here, as you can see, this is something extremely unusual I have never seen before. I'm talking about a little panel like this. What kind of panel of this little size have you ever seen that features Sony MPF batteries and a V-mount battery? So this is a little 60 watt little panel. Imagine you're throwing a 11 amp V-mount battery. How long this thing is gonna last? Probably 3 shoots, and it still got probably charged to go. So this is actually pretty awesome. As soon as I saw the picture, I was like, they got a V-mount option on a little thing like this? Send it over, please. As you can see, the back of the panel here is pretty busy. They put all kinds of things in the back here, utilizing the entire space of the panel. So here's your AC/DC. I don't have any batteries connected right now, so I'm gonna be jumping to the AC part. On the right side here, you have the knob that controls the light intensity from 10% minimum all the way to 100%. Next thing you know, very quickly, you are back at 10%. You cannot go below 10%. However, you can add into 1% increments. On the left here is your bicolor control from 3200 all the way to 5600, or 100 Kelvin degrees increments up or down. Right next to this button are 400 degree Kelvin shortcuts to modify the color temperature from 3200, 36, 4000, 44, 48, 52, and 5600. Or you can just jump like that. Right over here is your channel control. You press this button once, you can actually control the channels from 01 all the way to 99. Then you press the DMX button, you can actually go from channel 1 all the way to 512 and all the way back to channel 01. Right over here is your in and outs for DMX. This is a lot of convenience into one light, especially this little light that has the V-mount and the NPF option. It's almost embarrassing to mention something like this, but I guess I gotta do it because common sense, some people will attempt to power both the V-mount and the Sony MPF because the slots are here. It doesn't mean you can, it's just common sense again. So it's either the V-mount or the NPF option, but the options are here, but just don't make the mistake to power this at the same time using everything, because you're probably gonna end up frying the board inside and cause fire and other things that you don't want to see happening. So the front panel here is a very thick plexiglass, which provides you a very nice diffusion. And like I was saying before, I'm gonna be using this light primarily for hair light. First of all, for being round, and the head is round, so actually the light shapes better. One thing goes well with another. And also for being extremely light and portable. Not only that, a lot of people complain that most manufacturers, when they make this little power, little bricks over here, they forget to add plenty of length of this particular side of the wiring here, because this particular way they made this thing, you can actually plug it in a light, run on a huge boom, and actually plug this thing on the back of the boom, so you don't need an extension cords or anything like that. This thing is really long. I don't know how many feet it is, but it is plenty. Rather than having just 4 or 5 feet in length over here connecting to the light, and then you have to end up putting this brick in the middle of the boom, plus running an extension cord if the actual AC cord they supply is not long enough. So again, with this light here, you can actually run the entire boom and plug this brick on the very other side of the boom, and you don't need the extension at all. So this whole thing was designed with a boom in mind. Especially for people that want to use this as a headlight, this is a perfect thing to do. Especially with the V-mount option. Oh, I forgot. This has a D-tap option as well. So this whole thing got the Sony MPF battery option, the V-mount, and it also comes with the D-tap right here. As you probably noticed, all my power bricks, small or large, they feature this Velcro thing going on, plus this soft strip over here that I usually buy at Lowe's. They're the only ones that sell this type of Velcro, and also this type of strip over here. This can be easily undone because of the adhesive that comes with this thing is very easy to peel out, and it doesn't damage anything here. So what I do here, I put two Velcros. You put the soft side of the Velcro here, and this is gonna actually attach itself Velcro to Velcro, and leave this space over here, and then all you gotta do is press this in against the pole, and then you pull it, and this is not going anywhere. Rather than having this thing just dangling around, not only looks lousy and lazy and ugly, this is gonna cause a lot of stress right here. So when you mount this right here, press it in, and then when you raise the stand, the whole thing goes with it, including the power supply. Another cool thing here, this comes with a thread, so when you power the light via the supplied AC/DC power supply, you can actually screw this in, so the DC cable will never come out the light. So to power off the light, before you start moving stuff around the set, just power this off here, and then you unplug the actual power. What I recommend here before you mount your Sony MPF or your V-mount batteries, I would recommend that you lay this on a flat position, tighten the knobs, no need to over tighten. And then you can easily drop the batteries here, nothing's gonna fall on the ground, and there you go. If for some reason you need to move this panel 360 degrees, the best way to do it is do once a full turn, because if you keep turning this side here, the light is gonna unscrew itself, and if you go several turns this side, the light is going to be tightened itself, and it's going to stop here at some point. So the best thing to do is make sure this is loosened enough here, and then you can do only a full turn. I don't know why I would do that, right? So do only a full turn, and then when you're done, you tighten the knobs. Now this is a very large V-mount battery, so I would recommend that you kind of help holding the light a little bit here, and then you observe your alignment, and then you push it in until you hear a click. And to remove this battery out of here, like any other V-mount system has, a little latch that you can actually press, and then you release the battery. And then if you want to turn this light 360 degrees, you cannot, because the battery stops right here. So you can actually place the light facing up, this way, that way. It's about 340 degrees you can do, but not 360. And again, this is a very large V-mount battery, so make sure this is tightened well enough. So I took this light on a shoot. My assistant told me that the light actually frozen or broke or is defective, and if you don't read the manual, you're going to be returning things unnecessarily. You're going to be angry with the light, which is not its fault, because if you read the manual, you can go a long way, avoids frustrations and returns and any other unnecessary headaches or inconveniences. For example, the reason why none of these buttons work right now is because the guy accidentally pressed the DMX button, as you can see here, so as long as that's engaged, nothing will work. So all you gotta do is touch this button here, the DMX goes out, and then the light resumes to normal operation. So please read the manual and avoid frustrations when there's nothing wrong with the light whatsoever, okay? So if you put this back here, nothing happens. Even if you turn off the light, if you decide to unplug everything to refresh the light, no, it's gonna go back to the same exact thing because it memorizes the DMX was on, okay? And this is a 60-watt panel, and this is very bright. You can pretty much do anything with as much power, and plus the front light is diffused. And reminding you again, this is a bicolor light, which you don't need any gels whatsoever. For example, my room here, this entire thing is tungsten lit. So if I have a light that's not bicolor, that's gonna be a little bit of a problem here because it's gonna mess up my color. So all I gotta do is come down to 3200. If I want it slightly cooler, just do 35 or 3600 and such, which is also cool for the hair to do a little bit warmer or a little bit colder, depending on your taste. But for being bicolor, a 60 watt panel, which is extremely bright. And you can also use this for a full key light, as long as you keep the light as close as possible to the person's face, because the closer you place the light, the softer the light becomes. Same thing when you're shooting something small in the palm of your hand. Even if you have a light that's not diffused, the closer the light, the softer the light becomes, because at this proximity, this harsh light becomes a soft light. It's because the whole light is the size of my hand. So when you have this light as close as possible to the face or any other subject or any other object that you're shooting, this will be a soft light. This panel is diffused already, so when you put it close, especially if it takes the whole area of whatever you're shooting, the light is going to become softer. In other words, you can actually make a diffused light almost hard light, because if you place this light far away, it becomes a tiny little source of light. So it makes the light a little harder. To switch from V-mount to Sony NPF, again, do not power this light with all 3 batteries here, because you will fry this board. So let's power this off. Press this tab to remove the battery. Of course, you can do it this way too, but your batteries are most likely to fall, especially if you're doing stuff in a hurry. So you put one first. Make sure that's fully inserted. Help the light a little bit. Put the other one in and turn it back on. So since I have these batteries here, I'm going to be using a multimeter to make a little test to see if there's any voltage coming from this battery to here. So right now I'd like you to pay very close attention to this. This is why you cannot use the V-mount battery in conjunction with the Sony NPF batteries. I have my multimeter here, and this is the positive terminal, this is the negative terminal. As you can see, you have a full 16.4 volts coming out of here. So this is not going to charge your V-mount batteries. It's actually going to be destroying your V-mount batteries, because this is not the voltage that you charge a V-mount with. Now let's power this back on here. Let's see what we have. There's no voltage coming through here on the V-mount terminals. Now to see if there's any voltage running through the V-mount to here, it's not really an easy way to detect, because you will need a more complicated setup, because this needs 2 batteries to form a circuit here. So I'm not going to do any fancy tests here, because it is just silly to show. Just the point is, don't use the V-mount battery and the Sony NPF batteries connected, and you're going to be avoiding a huge problem. So that should conclude the end of my review on a Genaray Mini Moon. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. If you want to do any comments, suggest feedbacks, or whatever, you know what to do. Put them down in the comment section. I'll respond to everything that I see. And I hope you really enjoyed the video, and see you next time.